Hello, my name is Tatum Brown, and this is my reflection video on my marketing research project that I completed in the fall of 2025. In this video, I'll be going over details of the project and what it involved, as well as different areas where critical thinking was applied, and then the overall benefit that the project provided for the small business that we worked with. For this project, I worked with a partner, Corinne Carlson, and we were tasked with finding a small business in the Southern California area that would be interested in partnering with us for this research project. We were looking for a business that wanted to know more about their customers and genuinely cared for them, as well as one that was going to benefit from this research. After going door to door to about 30 different businesses, we found Pour Le Bain, which is a self-care boutique located in Uptown Whittier. To begin this project, we sat down with the owner, Luke, and asked him what he was really interested in learning more about for his business. After that, we conducted multiple customer interviews where we had about 5 key important ones and asked customers different hypotheticals and ideas based on the topics that we had discussed with Luke, as well as different ideas that we also had. From there, we looked at various articles and websites on the internet just about the industry and see what trends we saw, as well as what other businesses were doing. After that, we conducted a focus group of 9 people over Zoom and gave some more hypotheticals and got more feedback from them. From this secondary research, we were able to create a survey for Pour Le Bain to be handed out in person to customers. This survey was 65 questions in total, and in the end, we got 122 responses from it. Something my partner, Corinne, and I noticed as we were going from our secondary research to our survey as well as customer interviews is that our initial perceptions of what we thought would have been important to customers and what we wanted to focus on were not always true after we actually got to talking to customers. For example, we were really focused on the various products that Pour Le Bain had to offer, as well as their quantity, because there are so many products in the store. And so we were looking at what it would look like to minimize the amount of products. And when we got to customers and were talking to them, we discovered that this wasn't actually an issue that many customers had. In fact, it was a positive for Pour Le Bain because lots of customers really liked to browse around, spend their time, and enjoyed all of these products. And Pour Le Bain liked to keep them in stock. They would even write down products that customers had mentioned to them, and then they would start stocking them just because one person had mentioned it. And so just learning how to pivot from what we thought was going to be important versus what we actually found customers to care about was really valuable for us. And then we were able to narrow down what was valuable and then put that in the survey instead of just going right away. If we had just created the survey based on our initial perceptions and thoughts, it wouldn't have been valuable to customers, and we would have learned this after doing all the research instead of before. After analyzing the results from the survey, there were a few surprises to us. Specifically, we had asked a lot of questions about social media because this was something that the owner had wanted to focus on and was curious about. And so we included questions about how many of their respondents actually followed Pour Le Bain on Instagram, as well as what kind of content they liked. And ultimately what we found was that only 14 of the 122 respondents actually followed Pour Le Bain on Instagram. And so what we concluded from this was that social media wasn't as important to their business as other aspects were. Specifically, we were surprised at how important and how satisfied customers were with the friendliness of staff. This showed us that what was really important to customers was the in-person experience that they got, not so much the social media presence. This was just another example of what we initially thought to be proven wrong by the data, and so it caused us to pivot in other ways. Another valuable lesson from this project was the experience of working with a partner as well as working for a real client. Corinne and I, we were united over the fact that our ultimate goal was to provide value to our client and give them a project that they could really use. Because of this meant that we weren't caught up with small details that are involved in other group projects, such as splitting up work evenly or getting a good grade, but instead just providing a good project for our client. This meant that we ultimately just had to do the work that needed to be done. So some weeks would be heavier for me, some weeks would be heavier for Corinne, but this wasn't an issue for us, and it was something we were happy to do because we knew in the end it was going to benefit our client. Overall, this project was extremely rewarding, knowing that our project was able to help a real business Despite any difficulties that we had, seeing the changes that they're making because of our project made it really all worth it in the end. So thank you to Port LeBain for inviting us and allowing us to be there and work with you so closely. Thank you to my professor, Les Harmon, who coached us throughout the whole project, and Corinne, my partner, for working alongside me. And at this time, I invite you to download the rest of the project and take a closer look to understand it more. Thank you so much for watching.